So I'll be reviewing the trades for the week, basically consolidation throughout the daily. But on this candle here, that was a Tuesday. We had taken previous day's low as well as the significant low here. We did have this fair value gap with the divergence on the hourly and the 5-minute. We did get a break of structure here, and because of this double divergence at a significant level, it was before 6:30. I anticipated this to create a possible low. We did have two fair value gaps that formed here, and so we had 1 and 2. After this first fair value gap formed, I had my entry here, but with this other fair value gap that formed, I had a little bit of FOMO, and so I moved my entry from here to here. It eventually did hit both. The 6:30 candle created another divergence, and it was very close to hitting stop loss, but that's why my stop loss is underneath the structures. We can do this. The entry, the rules may change. The entry could be the fair value gap fill of the second fair value gap or the 50% if I'm not patient enough to think it's going to come down all the way here. So regardless, I did take an entry here, and then we were consolidating and expanded out, breaking this structure high. Now this was a breaker block. We had this fair value gap in here. So price came back down. I did take another entry on this fair value gap, and we went into drawdown. My stop was moved from the original one, and this new position was, I believe it was this swing low that was outside of the breaker block. So I see here that we did go beyond it. It respected the swing low outside. So I think that was very good. We had this fair value gap again in our direction, entered after here with the stop loss now at this low, and we respected that fair value gap and the breaker block premium. So we did come back down a few times, mostly consolidated, and around 9:25 in the post 9 a.m. we had this expansion higher. This may have been another pyramid entry, but because I had entered so many times over here, I was just waiting for it to hit take profit. And we did have these highs over here that I was targeting. So I took partials here, and then most of my trades were off here. So overall, I think I did really good and beautiful this day here on pyramiding, managing risk. On Wednesday, I had a video about this where this was a valid trade setup. So we did take liquidity, got divergence, and a fair value gap. I did want to see bullishness after this bullish candle was formed from the retracement. We did have this sell side fair value gap created here against our direction. And so once this candle closed basically low of this bullish candle that I thought was going to be a new low, I believe a partial loss or a full closeout would have been valid here. Thursday, we did have this divergence here after this aggressive sell-off, and we had this buy-side liquidity here that I was targeting. Risk to reward was 3-1. The thing is, there was no signal here. There was no bullish fair value gap created. I saw this gap here that could be used as an inversion fair value gap. I had this order block that was noted at the 50%, but no entries should have been made here. This was not a signal for an entry. And I pyramided here, so that's not good. This was an avoidable loss. Risk was managed. Even with the pyramid, I only lost the same amount for one trade. But we did get this divergence here off of this retracement, and we got a fair value gap. So because we came from here all the way down to here, I waited for a 50% limit order inside of this fair value gap, and I got that. Stop loss was 6 points. 2R was hit. 3R would have also been hit. It was a Thursday after this invalid trade, and we had expanded up and down, and so that's why I kept my TP relatively small. I did not take this pyramid entry here, so if I didn't take this setup, which gave me no signal, I may have taken this one here. After this fair value gap was formed, limit order at the open, stop loss above the high, and that would have hit take profit. That's all right. Something that I just got to remember is that bad trades can take away opportunities from valid trades. And as you can see here, I missed out on this pyramid. On Friday, we had a huge expansion up from London and New York. Was looking for upside movement, but I didn't have any opportunities to enter here, and it was just moving up so high. At this point, we did have this 100% ADR get hit. It was below this high over here, but NAS was making a divergence here. So we had two divergences on the hourly and on the 5-minute. This one did not give us that fair value gap entry signal. I did use this big wick as entry signal where we engulfed it, and then the third candle stayed below. The first candle was 50% of the wick. So I just waited for a small bullishness. I want to just enter here. So I waited a little bit and then got a 10 pip stop loss. I want to see this order block maintain, which it did. It did get hit at this candle, and then we started to trade lower. So we traded lower here. We expanded through the buy side fair value gap after it was filled, expanded through it, met this fair value gap in here. And around 9:30, we had created the high, which I didn't know if it was going to fill in this fair value gap or even go into it, and it didn't. We just had to push up and then aggressive sell with these two candles. So I had entered with the same entry style. Wick was engulfed, third candle maintained, and it did support give resistance off of this order block. Okay, so I entered this trade, didn't think too much of it, didn't know if it was going to win or lose, but it did end up hitting 2 RTP. And for this first trade, it really came close to my take profit. I just took partials there on this account. Other accounts I just waited, but on this account I took partials, didn't know if this was gonna reverse, and so I think that was good. Just taking partials cleared up my mind and was able to take this second entry. So overall, really good trading week. Monday I had not missed, it just never came back to entry, so this did run without me, and that's fine. Tuesday had some beautiful pyramid setups. So days like this is what I want to basically wait for, capitalize on. Wednesday, valid signal, just lost. So nothing I can do about that. That was a good loss. Thursday, not a good loss. Didn't give me an entry signal. I think I was going off of this wick here, where engulfed, third candle maintained. Did have divergence here, but I think I would have liked this wick to be a little longer. Recovered my losses with valid trade setups here, so it's profitable. And then this one here, good trade setup. Conditions made sense to me. This one, I didn't think we were going to get down here, but it did. And that's the part where I don't have to know everything to be profitable. I just have to keep taking the trades that follow my plan, and I'll eventually be profitable. So right now, 200K with MFFU. I'm close to being able to withdraw on the 150K account. I'm aiming to get towards the minimum profit threshold balance for the 50K account. And then I just got funded with Take Profit Trader this week with 150K. And so next week, not losing any of those accounts, taking the same trade setups that I've been studying, and I'm going to be fine.